Koch Enterprises is beating the odds. Studies show that 80% of U.S. businesses are family-owned or family-operated. While 30% of these businesses reach the second generation, only 10% make it to the third generation. Koch Enterprises enters its fifth generation, celebrating 152 years of service to the community. The founder of George Koch Sons was born in Albig, Germany. George's family came to America in 1843 and settled in Evansville to reunite with family members. George's father owned a winery in Germany, so he decided to become a brewer. His Eagle Brewing Company at the corner of Riverside and Fulton eventually became the home of F.W. Koch Brewing Company, and in 1930 changed its name to the Sterling Brewing Company. In 1873, George established the George Koch Tin Shop, limited to repair work for roofing, guttering, furnace installations, and manufacturing of small cookware items. And thus, the Koch generations began. Third generation Malcom Koch began his work with the company as a machine shop foreman in the 1920s and served as the executive vice president from 1939 until his death in 1981. Malcom was known as the Idea Man.
I'm sitting in the Koch Planetarium in the Evansville Museum. This planetarium is the result of a lot of effort by my uncle Malcom, who had an avid interest in astronomy and was responsible for the first planetarium that came to Evansville, probably the first planetarium in any museum. Malcom would love this planetarium. This was his dream. This would have been his absolute goal for a planetarium. He was a true Renaissance man. He was very creative, very innovative, very entrepreneurial. He was responsible in our company for the metal furniture business and metal flower pots and all kinds of things where he had developed special machines to give us an advantage to be able to produce these at less cost than other competitors. Yeah, Malcom was way ahead of his time. He was always thinking ahead. He always had ideas that were far in advance of the common thinking. But if Malcom hadn't come up with these new ideas and kept the company going, we might not be here for the fourth and fifth generations. Well, Uncle Malcom taught me never to be satisfied with the status quo, to keep working on new ideas and improvements and making things better.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
In 1942, George Koch Sons stopped production of metalcraft for customers and started the construction of war products to support the country throughout World War II. They built a new plant on Upper Mount Vernon Road where their craftsmen's metalworking skills were quickly used as they began the fabrication of parts for the famous LSTs. They also produced systems for other factories across the U.S. that include spray booths for aircraft wings, showcase testing equipment, and fixtures for aircraft wings and engines.
He dedicated his life to George Koch Sons and my mother and my grandmother. My grandfather was a role model in that I tried to embody what he was in my life. So his commitment to the community was really important. I admired how hard he worked, how well he treated people. I liked the idea that he helped in a way that was not, did not bring attention to himself. So I tried to incorporate all those values in my life.
My grandpa Malcom was a wonderful grandpa. If we ever needed to know anything in our household and we didn't know the answer, it was always, well, we'll ask Grandpa Malcom because he would know. And he always did. When he was 10 years old, he published his first newspaper. He sold it for a penny. It was called the Grandview Times. Later on in life, he wrote a magazine called Malcolm's Mysteries. That's what he called it. I think if my grandfather were here today, he would tell young people to study and study hard, read and be inquisitive inquisitive.
I think Malcolm's message for the junior achievement would be, perseverance and come up with new ideas. Keep fresh. Keep generating ways to do things better. Keep thinking forward or ahead. When Malcolm passed away, he was working at his desk at the office. He left quietly.
The Koch family is a prime example of capitalism working well. Making money is admirable, but there's also a responsibility for using some of that money for the betterment of everyone. And I think my grandfather personified that. I think he would be proud of the role he played in passing it down from one generation to the next generation to the next generation to the next generation to the next generation.